All right, the next question we're going to move on to, and the first candidate to answer will be Don Taylor. Don, what would you prioritize spending from most important to least important, and why?
Question. I think as far as spending, I would, I'm not in favor of type things like stimulus money. We've seen the ways where that's gone, but anything that would promote private sector jobs in our state. So, you know, bring down things like the corporate business tax and anything else that would make us in better standing with other states around us would help. But so I guess just mainly just anything that would help with jobs. That seems to be the most important thing in our state today.
Okay, same question will go to Sean. You know?
Sure. Well, at the top of the list, one of the core functions of government is providing for public safety. So we need to adequately fund, and quite frankly, for those that aren't directly associated with it, we've really pinched the public safety system in Minnesota. Courts are very, very stretched. And that's just, quite honestly, I think a function of the squeaky wheel gets the grease. Courts don't have the voice to go down and lobby at the legislature like some of these other interest groups do. But that is a key function of government, public safety. That is a legitimate function of what we do. That should be at the top of the list. There's so much we could spend an afternoon prioritizing what the legislature spends 6 months. But down at the bottom of the list, I would put all of the elective options that we in Minnesota opt into on all of our various public welfare systems. If you're not aware of how those work, most of the public welfare systems are tied to federal money. The feds will say, here's $1. If you take this $1, you need to spend it on this program. But if you want to do this extra little bit here, if you want to spend $1 on it, we'll give you 2. So what a deal, huh? We spend $1 and they give us 2, or they give us 1.5. And we in Minnesota choose almost every option for those optional services that leverage that federal money. It's a good deal for us, I guess, in that sense. But that's money that we're spending that we don't have to. We will still get the federal funds for these programs. We don't have to spend on these ancillary extra niceties that we do. I would put those very much down at the low end.
Great. Sheldon?
Well, public safety is first of all State Patrol, Department of Corrections. But you know, as a business owner, you have to spend your money on needs and not wants. You know, bike paths, rain gardens. You know, we have to chop the pork out of the budget, and you know, we have to see where it comes out, and we have some tough times ahead of us. You know, and as a business owner, I deal with it every day. I have to make decisions that you know, they're not fun decisions, and sometimes there's some hard feelings, but I'm not going down to St. Paul to make friends, I can assure you that. And I will use a scalpel at times, and other times I'll use a chainsaw to cut the budget.
Great, thank you. Bob?
Well, certainly public safety is number one. Obviously, we need to have enough police on the roads. We need to have enough judges in their chambers. We need to have enough law enforcement personnel to adequately both prosecute and defend the laws in our state. Unfortunately, we have a $30 billion budget, and only $2 billion of that $30 billion relates to public safety. And as Russ mentioned, about 40%, $13 billion relates to K-12 education. Next is health and human services at $9 billion. Third is higher education at $3 billion, and then next property taxes, property tax credits, aid to local government, another $3 million. So, while I understand the question, I wouldn't be going to St. Paul either to advocate for higher spending in any area. I think money is a tool to be used to achieve a goal, and so I would be trying to understand what goals we have and whether we should continue to have those goals. I think we have way too many goals or projects or ideas at both the state and federal level, and my reason for going to St. Paul would be to eliminate those things that are unnecessary. and then use the money left over to prioritize things. Education, obviously, we have to fund education adequately. The problem is we have fewer people attending our schools. We have less people. That's bigger now than we did before. So we don't necessarily need more money. We just need to spend that money more wisely. So I would be going to St. Paul to help them do that, help understand that next year and the year beyond, we're no longer going to have $30 billion. We're going to have $25 billion. So we need to prioritize that $25 billion in a way we've never had to do before. We're going to have to make tough choices that we've never had to do. It's not because we're mean people. We just don't have the money. If you don't have money in your checkbook, you don't spend the money.
Great, thank you. Russ Gooch?
Well, I'm relatively positive if I come up with any new spending ideas once I'm in the legislature that I'm going to be attacked severely, because as soon as I get there, I'm going to be proposing heavy reductions in spending and heavy cuts in the size of our government. As I've said before, I have a goal of about a 25% reduction, which should put us back into a model right around the 2005, 2006 era. We're the 6th highest taxed per capita state in the country. And so I feel before I go too far about what I'm interested in spending money on, I gotta be clear that my main goal isn't to spend more money, it's to cut the budget and get it down to something that we can actually manage. Roads and infrastructure are always important, and it seems as though no matter what we do, there's still gonna be needs there. So you're certainly gonna have to take some consideration for that. I think when it comes into education, you know, as much as we talk about the fact that it does consume 40% of our budget, we still have to educate our children. That is the future, and so we have to stay focused on somehow trying to make that a successful program. I would move, though, away from, I think, the way that we're funding now, and I would be more in favor of a voucher system, frankly, that puts the parents basically back in charge of the local school systems by deciding which school they're going to go to and sends the money along with the student. If we did that correctly, it would flatten the funding formula across the state so that all districts are being treated relatively equal to the number of students that they're educating. I think that's a direction more that I'd like to go with that. As far as anything else that I would be for is definitely going to be looking for some way to create offsets so that we can lower the taxes on business in this state. Corporate taxes have to be reduced. There's just no ands, ifs, or buts about it. And when it comes to small business in general, we have to come up with a new way of taxing it rather than just using the income tax system.
That's fine.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you.